I was having Yashua Rico from StreetScores, and we officially have 2 confirmed Commanders 2025 schedule games. We're going to dive into those games and like why they're so important and why they're so great for the outlook of the future burgundy and gold marketability, all of that type of stuff. We're going to dive into everything. Also, I want to dive into our strength of schedule as well. I have some interesting stats about total travel, distance, and miles, all kinds of stuff, man. Y'all know how I get when we're breaking down anything. So we're going to dive into all of that and more. But before we do, of course, I have a fun fact for you at the end of this video. And make sure you stiff on that like button, stiff on the subscription button, and stiff on the bell next to that subscription button so you get notification each and every time I release an informative and opinionated video just like this one. Make sure you stay tuned to all of the content. Got y'all covered on everything. And of course, as these games leak out tomorrow, I will be updating y'all on those as well. I have a lot of videos that I'm ready to work on. And of course, I will be live streaming with the Commanders Kings tomorrow night, as in Wednesday night, doing a live reaction. We're going to do schedule record predictions and all of that after the official schedule is officially released. So make sure y'all stay tuned for everything. Without further ado, let's go dive into the video right now. Let's get it. Adam. All right, so again, we currently have 2 games that the NFL themselves have already officially announced and like promoted and everything as well. So we know for a fact these 2 games, the Commanders are playing them versus the certain opponents, the week that it's happening, all of that type of stuff. The NFL has officially announced 2 Commanders games, and it's not a surprise that they are both on national television. I mean, naturally, first of all, we're going to be on national television a lot more often. We're going to dive into that a lot throughout this video. But also on top of that, of course, 2 of the games that they announced first are going to be nationally televised games because they're trying to get everybody hyped and trying to build it up. That's why they're releasing games here and there, like every few hours. They're like, okay, now here's this game that everybody's going to want to see, this matchup, these quarterbacks, these teams, this history between the teams. So, of course, the games that are being officially announced and promoted by the NFL are going to be nationally televised. They're not just going to randomly throw out their random 1 p.m. game this early. But going back to the main point, and JP Finley is completely right about this, the country cannot get enough of Jayden Daniels and the burgundy and gold. They cannot, man. We're going to dive into a lot of that throughout this video because, first of all, y'all already know about the Dolphins game that we'll play in Spain. We're going to dive into that a little later as well. But the second game that we know for a fact the Commanders will be playing, we have a Week 16 doubleheader on Saturday, December 20th. Let's go. You have the Packers at Bears, and then of course you also have the Eagles at Commanders, a rematch of the NFC Championship game, even though we're going to play the Eagles before that, and you're more than likely going to play the Eagles again in the playoffs after that as well. But that game is going to have a lot of ramifications attached to it, man. Like, it's going to be a high-stakes game. By that point in the season, oh yeah, like that game's going to matter. At the very least, there's going to be some seeding ramifications behind that game. Let alone maybe, you know, the Eagles or the Commanders are just having somewhat of a down year compared to last year. And maybe one of us needs that game to make into the playoffs in the first place. Who knows? But I know that Week 16 doubleheader is going to be high stakes for both teams. That's why they made sure it was 2 divisional rival games, 2 top tier quarterbacks. I mean, really 4 of them. Like, each matchup features 2 at least very talented quarterbacks, wherever you want to rank them and all of that type of stuff. At least it features 4 potentially, or is supposed to be, franchise quarterbacks. Jordan Love versus Caleb Williams, Jayden Daniels versus Jalen Hurts. Now, granted, in our situation, our quarterback is obviously better. The Eagles just have a better team overall, so that's just going to be a fun matchup there. And then we'll see what happens with the Bears and the Packers. And of course, I mean, that's one of the NFL's oldest pastimes, Packers versus Bears and their matchups throughout history. So it just makes a lot of sense. And then again, all 4 of these teams all look to be potential playoff contenders. Now, the Bears weren't last year, but the other 3 teams made it to the playoffs. But a lot of people are assuming with the Bears adding Ben Johnson and then Caleb Williams going into his 2nd year, and the free agency that they had, improving their offensive line, the draft that they had, adding tight end talent and all kinds of talent they added to that team. So a lot of people are assuming that the Bears are going to at the very least be a playoff contender this upcoming season. So these are 4 playoff contenders. I also want to point out the fact that, speaking of a number 4, these are also 4 black quarterbacks that are being featured as the double header for 5 days before Christmas, and I love that as well. Now, speaking of that Saturday game versus the Eagles does kind of set us up to potentially maybe even play on Christmas, because last year's games, that Saturday game was used to set up the Christmas matchups soon after that. With us playing on 12/20, that very much so clears the way for Washington to potentially play on Christmas, which is 12/25. We're playing on December 20th. 5 days is enough time, at least in the NFL's eyes, for, hey, you better get back out there and play in 5 days later on December 25th as well. So if they want us to play at Christmas, on Christmas, then we're going to end up doing it. I hope we don't. You know what I'm saying? I love the fact that we'll be in front of everybody. It's going to be very marketable and things like that. And I love the marketable stuff too, because you're going to get, your players are going to be seen by like the average fan more often, by just the general population. So they're going to more than likely get more Pro Bowl votes. They'll have a better chance of making it to the Hall of Fame when they hang up the cleats. Because I feel like London Fletcher, even though he did win a Super Bowl before he joined the Burgundy and Gold, and even with him being an elite linebacker and his stats are very equal to like Ray Lewis's, he's not in the NFL just simply because he was on the Burgundy and Gold, the Redskins, when we didn't matter much. Now, granted, he was a part of that 2012 RG3 rookie season. That was fantastic. That added a lot of eyes to our team, but that wasn't until like midway through the season where people were like, wait a minute, these Redskins might be something. Remember, we started like, what, 2-6 or something that year, and then just went on a super streak? Like, we just never lost a game again for the rest of the year or something like that. So it wasn't even like midway. It took a while for people to actually take us seriously and really watch our games. And then by the time all of the eyes were on us, NFC wildcard game against the Seahawks, RG3, like further tears his ACL, whatever that was, the knee situation that he had with the knee brace on and all of that. Non-contact injury, just fell down. And the rest was history from there. So London Fletcher, I know I'm going on a really random rant, but like London Fletcher was a victim of the fact that the Redskins just didn't matter. Now, one thing about the Burgundy and Gold, we matter. The Commanders definitely matter, and they're going to feature us as often as possible. With further proof going into the next matchup that I've already confirmed in another video. The Commanders will be playing the Dolphins in Spain, y'all. Madrid, Spain. You know, they play football over there, what we call soccer. This is going to be the first NFL American football game ever played in Spain. Like, that's huge. Like, the NFL was like, man, we're trying to go as global as possible. In our introduction into the Spain market, we're going to feature the Commanders to be a part of that. We want Jaden Daniels to be one of the faces of us trying to get as many people from Spain as possible to fall in love with the NFL and add that to the list of sports that they care about. Because, of course, people in Spain don't necessarily care about the NFL. I mean, of course, some do. But this is definitely an initiative here to try to get more, because soccer dominates Europe. Soccer literally just dominates really the entire world outside of America, but especially in places like Spain. Like, Spain is like one of the mega hubs for elite soccer play. People from other countries go to Spain to play soccer. So the NFL is trying to breach into that and maybe make themselves as like the second most popular sport in Spain. And again, attempting to do that with Jaden Daniels as one of the faces. I mean, you're looking at the picture right now where it's him and Tua. Now, granted, I don't like the fact that Tua is taking up more space than him on the picture, but at least Jaden Daniels is in front of him. We'll see. And again, like I already said in my other video, that when I announced the fact that we were playing the Dolphins in Spain before the NFL like officially like agreed and like confirmed it and all of that type of stuff, you even have Dolphins fans out here saying that Tua more than likely won't even be healthy by the time that game is played, because it will be November 16th, just to warn you. So I'm rooting for him to stay healthy. I'm not rooting against anybody as far as health, injuries and stuff go. I'm not wishing out on anybody, but you have a lot of Dolphins fans saying it right now. So we'll see what happens by the time we get there. I'm rooting for Tua to stay healthy, though. I want that to be a good matchup. Of course, I want to win, but I don't want to just go against some random backup quarterback. Jaden Daniels, we just beat him 40-0. That's not even necessarily going to be a good look for the NFL. But then again, that's their fault for matching up a sorry team or an injury-prone team against the team of destiny, the Washington Commanders right now. But now we have confirmation. The Commanders are playing week 11, Technically, it's at the Miami Dolphins, but it's in Spain. So I'm pretty sure the Miami Dolphins don't necessarily have any more fans than we do over there. So if I'm a Dolphins fan, I'm actually a little sick because one of our home games is now no longer technically a home game, like home field advantage-wise, crowd-wise, and crowd atmosphere and things like that. So luckily for us, one of our away games technically isn't an away game. We technically play 8 home games, 8 away games, and then that one neutral site, you could honestly say, for that game. But either way, we have confirmed at Miami Dolphins in Madrid, Spain, 9:30 a.m., which is, Lord have. So there you go with the confirmed time. So yes, we will be playing early in the morning. And then we also have week 16 versus the Philadelphia Eagles, Saturday, December 20th. And then, of course, you have 2 more games after that, week 17 and week 18. We'll see how it goes, though. Of course, schedule prediction-wise, one of the main things I'm looking for tomorrow is when is that bye week, man? Please give us a good bye week. Give us a bye week in the middle of the season, not at the end, not at the beginning. Please, NFL, man. You're going to market us like this. You want us to be healthy, right? You want us to play all of these 4 p.m. games, 8 p.m. games, primetime games, Sunday night, even 4 p.m. wise, the game of the day type of stuff. You're sending us to Spain. You have us playing in a doubleheader on December 20th for everybody to watch. There's just no reason why we should end up with a bad bye week. They tend to give the best teams, the teams that they want to market for everybody to see, the guys that they hope make it to the Super Bowl and things like that, the guys that the NFL pretty much have money behind and pushing them, they give those teams good bye weeks usually. So maybe now that we've stepped into the forefront of the NFL marketability and everybody wants to see Jaden Daniels and things like that, we're very watchable, we're very likable, maybe we'll get a really good bye week just off of that. But here goes the entire international game slate. You still don't exactly know who the Chargers will play, but September 5th, they'll play in Sao Paulo. That's pretty interesting there. Then you have the Vikings and Steelers playing in Dublin. You have the Vikings and Browns playing in London, which is interesting, the fact that the Vikings have 2 international games. If I'm them, I'm sick, because one is September 28th and then the next one is October 5th. They might as well just stay in Europe at that point. And then in London, you have the Broncos and Jets. Then in London as well, you have the Rams versus the Jaguars. Then in Berlin, you have the Falcons versus the Colts. And then in Madrid, you have the Commanders versus the Dolphins. And again, that is the first game Madrid has ever had an NFL American football game ever in history of humankind. But that's an interesting slate of international games. And again, just off of the fact that we're one of those teams is very interesting. Now, granted, London may be a little bit different. They kind of pack it in, even some potential sorry teams to London. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's just American football there. We send games to London all of the time. We typically send our worst matchups there, just like they tend to do with a lot of Thursday night games, because it's like, well, you have nothing else to watch. It's NFL football. It doesn't matter if the teams are good. It's NFL. You're more than likely going to go there, so we're not going to waste our time sending 2 of our best teams to face against each other. We're going to give you a bad matchup over there. London has literally gotten to that point now. You see, we have 3 games in London alone. But that Madrid game, they're like, we want high-flying offenses. Remember, Tua, you know, before he ends up getting hurt, is typically leading the NFL in passing yards. Tyreek Hill is explosive. They have a very explosive team, very fast, quick pace. Then you have the Commanders, one of the most explosive offenses in the NFL last year, and then we just got even better this offseason. So that's clearly, we want points. They sent, give me a total score of 80 going to Madrid. Let's give them an exciting NFL game. We don't want that sluggish 16-10 game that, you know, NFL games tend to normally be, you know, a lot of the time. They want the 40-something to 30-something game in Madrid. Get some of these people from Spain and be like, wow, this NFL thing is fun. This is exciting. Is this how football always is? No, it's not. But the NFL at least wants them to think that, to just kind of reel them in just a little bit. And then shouts out to John Com, because I agree. He said getting an international game, and the first one in Madrid at that, is yet more evidence of the Commanders' resurgence. Jaden Daniels plays a key part in that popularity, and having a young, dynamic quarterback helps sell their product as in the NFL, so that's why they're going to feature him as much as possible. And then shouts out to Nikki Javala. She said the last 5 months for the Commanders have been insane. NFC Championship game appearance, Rookie of the Year quarterback, stadium deal at RFK, pending approval technically though, awarded the 2027 NFL Draft in DC, and land first international game that the Burgundy and Gold have played in 9 years. And again, I want to emphasize, this is the first time the NFL has ever played in Spain, and they picked us to be one of the 2 teams that they go send to go do that. And then also, Shouts out to the NFL because they promoted the Jaden Daniels versus Justin Herbert matchup that will happen eventually. We don't know when, we don't know what week and everything like that. But back on May 10th, just a few days ago, they did a tweet. Back in 2019, true freshman Jaden Daniels outdueled Justin Herbert as Arizona State upset number 6 Oregon. In 2015, they meet for the first time in the NFL, and that's a good point. But the fact that they took the time that, like, as they're trying to build momentum and hype for this eventual schedule release that's taking place May 14th, Wednesday, depending on, I'm pretty sure by the time I'm done recording this and editing this, it will already be May 14th. So technically later today, they use that game to showcase it, to get everybody like, man, I mean, they technically have not played since then. And Ed, my boy Ed Oliver, brings up a good point. He said, NFL marketing us any chance that they get. I'm ready for all of the primetime games and America games of the week. Now, of course, I'm a selfish streamer that prefers for all of our games to be at 1 p.m. so we can do the call-in show afterwards, and I can still have time in the evening to do whatever I want, work on videos, whatever I want to do, watch more other NFL games and things like that. But it is what it is, man. It is what it is. And then shouts out to Marshall, brings up a good point. He said this never would have happened. Talking about the Commanders versus Dolphins in Madrid. Again, first game in Madrid ever in all of Spain. And they literally just got that stadium ready. Like, it still has that new car smell to it and everything. Fresh stadium. We're going to be the first NFL team to ever play in it, along with the Dolphins as well. But Marshall said never would have happened with Hal and an offensive tackle in a trade down. Remember, he just being petty because a lot of people were saying don't take Jaden Daniels at 2, keep Sam Howell, and then trade back and get one of the best tackles in the draft. We more than likely are not here if that happens. And then continuing on with the whole marketing situation. The NFL is literally marketing their 2025 schedule release with Jaden Daniels as one of the 4 athletes that they're showcasing, like the faces of the NFL. They have Saquon, they have Jamar Chase, Josh Allen, and then even though Jaden Daniels is in the back, he's still one of the 4 people. They don't even have Pat Mahomes, they don't have Lamar Jackson. They could have chosen any combination of players, and they have Jaden Daniels as one of the 4 guys that they're showing. The marketability is insane. Now let's dive into the schedule. As you can see, with our home opponents, and we knew this a couple of years ago. You already know who you're basically playing, at least the vast majority of it. And we been knew this. You already know your future opponents. You can go look them up right now, which divisions we play in the future. You just don't exactly know which guys, because a lot of it is like, okay, if you're second place in the NFC East, you're going to play the second place team in the NFC South. That's how a lot of that stuff goes. But we already knew this a while ago. But just to let you know, of course, our home games, of course, we play the Cowboys, Giants, and Eagles twice a year, home and road. But the rest of the games, home, Bears, Lions, Seahawks, Broncos, and the Raiders. Away, Packers, Vikings, Falcons, Chiefs, Chargers, and Dolphins. A lot of fun quarterbacks, man. I mean, whatever you consider Dak Prescott, I guess. Plus, the Giants are going to have either Russell Wilson or Jameis Winston. Then you have Jalen Hurts, of course. All of those are twice a year. Then the Bears, Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson. Is Ben Johnson trying to get revenge on us for what he did to him when he was still the offensive coordinator for the Lions? Then speaking of the Lions, going against Jared Goff again. The Seahawks over there picking up Sam Darnold. Then Broncos, Bo Nix. I mean, a lot of people, for some crazy reason, actually think Bo Nix deserved Rookie of the Year over Jaden Daniels. Think he's better. But we'll finally be able to put that to rest when we play them in Landover, Maryland. Then the Raiders. I mean, Brock Bowers. You know what I'm saying? Aston Genty and Brock Bowers. Then the Packers, Jordan Love. Then the Vikings. I mean, I guess J.J. McCarthy. I'm assuming by then. Michael Penix. Him and Jaden Daniels and Michael Penix already had a really good, back and forth when we played the Falcons last year. Then Pat Mahomes. Then Justin Herbert, like the NFL I just showed y'all was marketing. And then, of course, Tua Tagovailoa in Spain. This is a quarterback gauntlet that we're going against. And even on top of that, shouts out to Mitch Tisler. He said the Commanders led the NFL in least miles traveled last year, but this year, add in a couple of trips to the AFC West and a trip to Madrid, they check in at 22nd now. So now we travel way more. Last year, we only traveled 10,550 miles. Again, the least miles that any team had to travel all last year. This year, we traveled 21,363 miles this upcoming season. So we're one of the top 10 most traveled teams in 2025. And again, last year we got kind of lucky where we didn't have to travel much. Now, granted, even with that very little travel we had to do, we still ended up in some really ugly situations of playing this team, then 7 days later playing this team, and they had a bye week the week before. So we only had 7 days. That team had 2 weeks to prepare for us. So yeah, that distance travel thing isn't all it's cracked up to be. You know what I'm saying? They kind of hate, they were like, okay, you won't travel much, granted, but you're going to get hated on as far as when you're preparing for these teams you're going against. So hopefully we don't get did that bad this year. And then also strength of schedule wise, based on 2024 records, I'm going to give you two different types of strength of schedule. You have based on 2024 records, which we're going to talk about first. And then you also have based off of Vegas's projected win totals from your opponents as well, because those are two different strength of schedules. One is completely only acknowledging what people did last year. Vegas, the other one, is trying to take into account and calculating the fact that some of these teams probably have improved. There's changes, draft, free agency, and we're predicting this team to be better, whether, you know, maybe last year they had a bad record because they were injured, or maybe they traded for an elite player or drafted an elite player this offseason. They're more than likely going to be a better team. So based off of win projections for 2025, that's a whole separate one. So again, first, based off of 2024 records, in order of most difficult to easiest, poor Giants. Giants have the toughest schedule in the entire NFL. Then you have the Bears and the Detroit Lions tied for second. Then it's the Eagles. Then it's the Cowboys. Then it's the Packers. Then it's the Vikings. And then it's us eighth. We have the eighth toughest schedule in the entire NFL with a .55 strength of schedule, again based off of 2024 records right there. And that's just crazy that the entire NFC East is in that top 8, man. It's the NFC East and the NFC North, and that's it. The top 8 teams are literally all from those two divisions as the toughest schedules in the entire NFL. And again, it just makes me laugh to see that the Giants have the toughest schedule in the entire NFL just based off of last year's records. But again, if you change it based off of Vegas forecasted win totals, we move from the 8th toughest schedule to the 15th toughest schedule. So that's interesting that they're projecting our schedule to be easier than what it appeared just based off of looking at how good teams were last year. Just based off of, again, when you're calculating and accounting for draft, free agency, trades, whatever happened since those teams finished up their seasons last year, for some reason they feel like the Commanders' schedule is going to be even easier than it looks on paper if you're only acknowledging last year's records. And I'm like, cool, it doesn't matter to me. We could have the toughest schedule in the NFL. We got Jaden Daniels. I ain't worried about it. But I just wanted to dive into that and show y'all like what's exactly going on just based off of stats. These aren't opinions. These are purely stats. Well, technically the Vegas ones has a little bit of subjectivity to it because, I mean, to just assume that this team is going to be better based off moves they made in free agency, there's some subjective judgment in there. But the one based off of last year's records, purely stats. But of course, you can't just assume that teams are going to be the exact same as they were the previous year, especially after how crazy the offseason was, even how much we improved just alone. I'm working on a video right now where people around the NFL are saying that we may have closed the gap on the Eagles, so be on the lookout for that video. Things can change. The Eagles, still a dominant team. The NFL runs through them, but they're on paper not as good as they were last year. And on paper, we're way better than we were last year. Again, we're going to dive into that in another video. But shouts out to Logan at Pro Bowl Daniels. He brings up a good point. One thing about NFC East fans is that we all hate each other until the best division debate starts happening, and then we start hyping all the other people up. Now, I'm not one of those people necessarily. I'm not hyping up Eagles, Cowboys, or Giants for any reason. I don't care. Because at the end of the day, it's Commanders and nobody else for me, but I see the feeling. I can kind of feel that a little bit. I thought that was a funny point. And then also, Disco brings up a good point as well. He said, of course we won't go 17-0, but with health, is there an opponent that we can't beat? And I think that's a good point based off of what we did last year, based off of the fact that everybody pretty much unanimously across the board feels like Jaden Daniels is at worst a top 5, top 7 quarterback already with the potential to be the best. Shouts out to the Sportsography show that I got put on through Craig Hoffman and Logan Paulson because they did a lot of joint podcasts and videos and breakdowns of the draft process with them for the past few months. And he, Jets fan, you know, no attachments to the Commanders whatsoever, no bias towards us or against us or anything. And he just came out with his top 5, he ranked all quarterbacks, power rankings, all 32 starting quarterbacks in the NFL. He had Jaden Daniels 5th, but he also emphasized the fact that it is 1 through 5 that are all really close to each other. He feels like if you put Jaden Daniels on the Ravens, on the Bills, on the Bengals, it would pretty much go just as well, if maybe not better. His whole thing was, well, Jaden Daniels, we've only seen it for 1 year. Now, granted, what we saw in 1 year was better than anything we've seen from a rookie in NFL history. So it's safe to assume, just based off of that trajectory, maybe he is going to be better than the 4 guys ahead of him in that list. But his point was it's only 1 year and you got to do it more than 1 year for me to go ahead and throw you at number 1. But he said talent wise, he could easily see him being number 1. And he also going back to the main point, was that 1 through 5 of Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Pat Mahomes, Joe Burrow, whatever order he had those 4 guys in above Jaden Daniels, he said the gap between 1 to 5 was smaller than the gap of Jaden Daniels at 5th and whoever he had 6th. It may have been Matthew Stafford, I can't remember completely, but basically Jaden Daniels is closer to the number 1 quarterback in the NFL than he is to the guy right behind him in 6th place. So we have one of those guys. And then all of the moves that we did in the offseason, the draft that we had, trading for a top 3 left tackle in Laramie Tunsil, trading for Deebo Samuel, and then I feel like through free agency, we made this going from the worst run defense in the NFL to a top 10, maybe even top 5 run defense in the NFL this year. We still have some pass rush questions a little bit, but this team is way better than it was last year. So again, if you're looking at this schedule, who can we not beat? I completely agree with Disco. I'm not saying we're going 17-0 like he said, but who on here are you like, there's just no way we have a chance of beating those guys? There's just no way Jaden Daniels and this far improved roster from last year that made it to an NFC championship game on Jaden Daniels' back. Now we went and got him a bunch of help this offseason. Who on this schedule scares you? You know, going into last season, we could have been like, well, who knows how good Jaden Daniels is going to be? We just won 4 games last year. I don't know. But this year, honestly, who scares you? Again, I'm not saying I agree with Disco. We're not necessarily going 17-0, but point to me the definitive loss. That's the exercise I'm going to give you. Who's the definitive loss? Like, there's no way the Commanders beat them. And I don't feel that way about anybody. But I do want to warn people. There is a reality where we're a better team in 2025 than we were in 2024, but we win less games in the regular season. So do not panic. We are building this team to win in January and February. You can see with how lasered in and zeroed in they were on making sure we had excellent depth up and down this roster. Pretty much outside of the linebacker group, we're pretty deep as far as maybe the safety group as well. I would throw safety. You can maybe argue corner a little bit, and then linebacker, we're deep at every other position. We could have an injury to the starter, to any starter. I'm not necessarily saying like Jaden Daniels or Terry McLaurin, but we could have an injury, and then the next guy behind them can step up and be a really good starter in their place, especially offensive line, defensive line, outside of pass rush, wide receiver. You know, we're loaded up tight end. I'm expecting a jump in development and like a Ben Sinnott running back with Jacory in that building now. I'm telling you. So we've built this team to be great in January and February. We've built this team to be ready to deal with the Eagles in that dominant defensive line that they have, the dominant defensive line of the Giants, and of course Micah Parsons over there, and Donovan Ezaraku with the Cowboys. They were like, basically Adam Peters was like, all right, y'all want to have these dominant defensive lines? Say less. We're going to build a dominant offensive line. We're going to make sure we have a top 5 offensive line ready for all of that. Then we already have the elite quarterback. He has elite weapons. I'm not afraid of any team, especially when it comes to a shootout. I think we can outshoot any team, even the Chiefs right now. You know, we'll see what happens with defense as far as getting after the quarterback and things like that. But outside of that, I think we're ready to go. So again, I feel like don't panic. If we don't win as many games, or if we don't win more games in 2025 than we did in 2024, even though we're better as a team on paper, all of that, again, do not panic. We are built to win in January and February. We are looking at Super Bowl. So even if we don't win 12 games in the regular season, it's fine. We can still go win a Super Bowl. Again, I'm not saying we're going to go 17-0, but please point to me an opponent on this schedule that just definitively we have no chance against. But yeah, man, that's the end of this video. Please get in the comment section. Let me know if you love everything discussed in the video. Please stiff arm that like button, stiff arm the subscription button, and stiff arm the bell next to that subscription button so you get notification each and every time I release an informative and opinionated video just like this one. Really appreciate y'all for supporting the video, man. If you made it this far in the video, I salute to you. And for your fun fact, running back Terry Allen scored 39 touchdowns in his 52 regular season games for Washington from 1995 to 1998. A league high 21 of them, all of them on the ground, and came in a Pro Bowl year in 1996. Hey, shouts out to Terry Allen, man. That's a great fun fact right there. As long as we avoid all of the unnecessary, all of our half of the fun facts have been 2022 trivia questions. Is really weird because it's a 2025 calendar. So if anything, maybe you can pull some facts from 2024. We were setting all of these records. I could maybe even see 2023. What is so special about 2022 is this calendar is so attached to it? It's so random. So I'm happy to see a different time period with that fact. We went all the way back to Terry Allen. I like that. So of course, let me know in the comment section how you feel about everything discussed in the video. Let me know if you agree or disagree with any of my points about how confident I am going into to this season. Let me know if you're with me, all that type of stuff, and how marketable we are and all of that type of stuff. So let me know all of that. I'm gonna try my best whenever I'm not. I've been super busy the last few weeks, but I've been doing my best to make sure I still get like a video or two out there every day. But man, let me know in the comment section how you feel about everything. I'm gonna try my best to read and reply to as many comments as possible. I'm gonna catch y'all later. Leave a like on the way out. I'm out.